came last night because of the love for Islam. Much as tomorrow I'm supposed to travel somewhere, the regional assistant knows. I said, let me be around. I thought I would be done by around 11 and go away. But by you being here, what first came to my mind is that you are the cream of the regional assistant, the Mufti. So from Kabong to where the region ends, look at there. Kachumbala, you are the people is hoping to rely on. Kindly don't let him down, because if you do, you will have let Islam down. Can you tell your neighbor that don't let Islam down? As we gather here to look at the ambitious plan, I would like us to re-echo a few things that the Deputy Rector pointed out. The first one, we need numbers. Honorable Secretary General, we have had a very big challenge of numbers. The Muslims in the region, we need to have record of how many mosques we have, for example. How many people do we have, the Muslims? In Uganda, I have tried to do it. For the first 1 year, I have struggled with the people to ensure we have basic information about us. How many people do we have, especially the children? If we are talking of planning for schools, are there children really? We need to have these statistics. The number of Muslim schools we have, in terms of either Quran schools, how many primary schools do we have that are Muslim founded? How many secondary schools do we have in the region that are Muslim founded? Then tertiary, if possible, because these are the resources we are going to capitalize on. How many health centers do we have, apart from the one that I know in Soroti, the one next to, yes. How many other health facilities do we have as Muslims? We need to have this information for us to do that advocacy and actually planning. But also the number of professionals that we have in the different areas. In health, in education, in business. These are the people we hope to tap into. Then what about the charity organizations or partners that we have? We are talking of an ambitious budget of about 32 billion. We need to capitalize. If we have partners, NGOs, charity organizations around, then these are the ones we are going to be looking at. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to urge you that the Muslims are needed. The Muslims are needed. My voice is loud and clear. But also I would urge you that we focus on the 4 areas. I haven't looked at your plan yet. But for the Muslims of the 2025 to make a meaning and fill the region, we need to critically focus on these areas. The first one is education and dawah. How are we empowering our children? It is normally through education that we lose so many younger people, because our parents, I think my voice is loud enough. Our parents are needed, so the Pentecostals come and say, I will educate your children. We need to strategically plan as a region. We need to look at issues of health. We can only achieve more dreams if we are healthy. We need to look at issues of livelihood and food security. These are issues concerning the homes. The pillars of Islam are 5. I don't know how many pay zakah because it's one of the pillars. These are issues of livelihood. Then the issue of climate change. And finally, second last, if we look at opportunities, there are 1,001. It will depend on how we tap into them. Even me, I could be an opportunity to you if you try to. It depends on how you define me. The opportunities are many. The committed leaders, some of them have already been introduced to us. We have a number of government programs around, and we are key stakeholders in this country. I was reading today's paper, Honorable Secretary General. I was reading the new vision, and something captured my mind, my attention. The nannies in Gulu presented a proposal of developing an agricultural project, and they costed it at 1.2 billion. When Honorable Salim Saleh was celebrating his 65th birthday, they mobilized the 1.2 billion and they got it. Ask your neighbor, as Muslims, do we have capacity to tap into? Because these are sometimes government resources, but also people of influence that can bring us resources. Do we have such people that can bring us resources? In the last 2-3 years, government has given out tractors and farm implements. I don't know how many the Muslims received. These are issues of understanding ourselves and tapping into the potential, and we will be there. There are opportunities of government grant aid schools every year, both primary and secondary. But do we have them that we can present and say, we have these 2 community schools in the region for affirmative action of the Muslims? We request that they are granted. Are they there? Those are opportunities that could be there. We also have opportunities of the government loan scheme for higher education. I said I work with the Ministry of Education. Government gives loans to needy students that have completed senior 6 to further their studies. How many of our children? Of course, it comes from the lower level. Somebody talked about it, the deputy rector. How many of our children are we preparing that we also tap into these opportunities? Yet, these do not have the back because they pay the exact amount. It's what they pay back. There is PDM. I don't know how many of us in this room have gotten money for PDM. These are sometimes they were issues were raised with the microfinance support center, and action is something was being done to give Muslims interest-free monies. All of these would be opportunities if we put our house in order. Islamic Bank, then the regional and other partners, including UNICEF. UNICEF gives money to the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, Secretary General, you can correct me. Each year, they have passion especially for ECD, early childhood development, nursery sections. How much of this are we able to prepare to tap into? There are other partners like Ateka, yes? Before the regional assistant was tasked this, he was working with them, but it's also the organization is still around. How do we tap into this to ensure that we better our region? Ladies and gentlemen, the number of challenges as I conclude are waiting us. Things will not be easy, but things are possible. We can do them, and the regional assistant and the Mufti is also looking at us in this room. One of them is poverty, especially vulnerability, I told you that's where we lose most of the children, the Pentecostals. We don't have data to back up most of our things. We have also limited knowledge about deen. There are also critics and the unsupportive leadership. Secretary General, with your due permission, I request you to report that we have had challenging issues in Kumi. Now I spell Mkono. But the issues in Kumi district are not appealing to the Muslims. They require serious intervention of the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council. They require serious support from the center, the regional assistant, the Mufti, to resolve them. If we don't, all our dreams will disappear into the air. I kindly appeal to you to take interest in issues of Kumi. Protect plan, transparency, accountability, short-termism, there are so many. As they say, we are looking at us in this room to ensure that everything works out. And the 32 billion could be ambitious, but it is achievable. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. Takbir? Takbir! I think that's the only way we appreciate Islam.